Hey class, Dr. D is here to talk to you about Module 9, the second to the last module of our class. How exciting. After this we have Module 10 and you're free to go off and be wild scientists in social science and conduct research. Module 9 is very fun because you finally get to see qualitative research. This is vastly different than quantitative, which you've been studying all of 510 and thus far to 520. Qualitative is its own beast. It's fun, creates a whole set of opportunities to learn more about data and to decipher how best to analyze it. Before I start talking about the module itself and the work involved, I want to share a quick story of qualitative data to prep you and help you understand what is going on with this type. So let me start where we already are. Quantitative data, numbers, statistics, ones, twos, it's measurable. We can see observable means and differences between numbers. We know $100 is more than $1. Everything's quantifiable, measurable, and can produce a value. Now, how do we do that in terms of qualitative? What is qualitative? Qualitative is the study of research that quantifiable data is not easily applicable. How do you put a number on feelings and emotions? How do you put a number on perception and ideas and thoughts? When it comes to this type of data and this type of research, we need qualitative data, and we move away from quantitative. If you asked a hardcore quantitative statistician, he or she would say that everything's quantifiable and that there is no such thing as an unquantifiable measure. But I am not a hardcore quant statistician. I like quant and qual. Those are the words we use for shortening quantitative and qualitative, quant and qual. So as I speak to you, I'll be using those. There is mixed methodology that utilizes quant and qual together, and then there's qualitative all on its own. What you're going to do in Module 9 is you're going to learn the basics and an introduction to what qualitative research is. So when would we need qualitative research? Qualitative research is needed when we are working with individuals and human subjects where emotions and perceptions and ideas and thoughts and free association is given and it's not easily quantifiable. These could be opinions, these can be stories, they could be shared experiences. And it's up to us researchers to then make sense of all of these humanistic, I call them the warm, fuzzy data that you can't shove into numbers. That's when you need qualitative data. Or research, qualitative research. And qualitative research works only with qualitative data. So, let me tell you a big study that I did for my dissertation. It was a mixed methods research project, meaning I had phase 1 was quantitative, phase 2 was qualitative. It was a very big project. I should have done less, but I took on a lot. The research question I had was, do English language learners, students in undergrad, do they feel they're affected by power from their teachers in the classroom? And if so, how are they affected by power types in the classroom? The main point was that educators exhibit 5 different power types in the classroom. We've all been exposed to it, but my research question was, how do those 5 power types, how are they perceived and affecting ELL students, English language learners? So I first set off to do a quantitative survey and administered over 1,000 surveys on the concepts of power, perception, and how it may affect you. So the surveys came back, coded, cleaned, analyzed. The quantitative results showed that there are significant differences between ELL and native students in college on how they perceive power. This was only the first step. What my quantitative work did was verified there was a difference. I used canonical correlation analysis. I used MANOVAs, multiple analysis of variances, chi-squares, means, frequencies, what have you. And the results showed, yes, there is a difference, but that's not it. That's not all. I have to then further go and say, well, what is the difference? And this is where qualitative research came in. I further sampled 20 English language learners and interviewed each one for a half hour. So I sat and talked with 20 students from different countries for a half hour each. And that's about 10 hours of interviewing. And in qualitative research, it's laborious. To code a half hour interview by hand, listening to the audio, takes 4 to 6 hours. So you've got 10 hours, you have over 600 hours of coding, transcribing to do at the computer. I had a research team, 5 people who around the clock were transcribing all of these interviews to put onto paper. And now I have documents from every single interview, interviews 1 through 20, all have a transcription. We call them the transcripts from the interview. And it's your job as a qualitative interviewer to then look at those and pull themes out. To look at them and say, what are the reoccurring themes? Like if person 1 said, the teacher talks down to me. Person 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, they all said, the teacher talks down to me. In fact, all 20 of them say, the teacher talks down to me. There's a theme, and the theme is talking down. So it was my job to read through 20 interview transcriptions, which were 10 to 20 pages apiece. Hundreds of pages, look for themes, code it, analyze it, and discover themes and sub-themes within the interviews. This is your qualitative data. This is the research portion where you have to make themes. And out of it, I had 4 major themes. It was the positive things that teachers do, the negative things teachers do, understanding ELLs from culture, language, and the classroom. Those were the 3 sub-themes of understanding ELLs. And the last theme was I statements, because out of all my interviews, there was a large presence of I statements coming out. And these I statements were influential to understanding ELLs and how they perceive power. Once all those 4 themes were found, there were sub-themes within them, and I had to code them. And in my write-up in the large paper, I presented the quoted sections where the interview participants spoke about those sub-themes. So a quick example, if I had a theme that said, talking down is a theme in my interviews, I would include quotations from the interviews that highlighted that. Maybe it's in parentheses and it says, I don't always like it when the teacher talks down to me. Interview 5. And I'm building my themes from the qualitative research. And these all came from interviews. So, it was a huge project. Lots of hours. Took a whole year to do with a team of 5 in addition to myself. And this is how you do qualitative work. And in Module 9, you're going to get exposed to the beginning concepts of qualitative research. Other ways to use qualitative research, again, when you're hearing shared stories, when you have people giving you their opinion, and the overall takeaway is to display human emotion and make sense of people's multiple stories. There's great research out there. They have shared stories of Holocaust survivors and the main themes that come out of those interviews, of those stories. So you may hear the stories of 5 or 10 different Holocaust survivors, and then at the end of the study, you get to read over the major themes that they all shared throughout their stories. Maybe one theme is a theme of survival. So these are the ways that qualitative research works. So now that I've done that, let me open my computer here, and I have Module 9 pulled up in front of me. And Module 9 is an interesting time because the only thing you have to do are 2 discussions. It's very fitting because qualitative work requires typing. So what I'll do in preparation for Module 9 is I'm going to go over Module 9.1 discussion, and then I'll cover Module 9.2 discussion. And that will be the wrap-up of what to do for Module 9. So let's start with 9.1 discussion. It says, use the instructions and data provided in the Excel sheet, open-ended coding exercise spreadsheet. Create a coding scheme and a summary table of your results. Post your responses to the discussion. Even if you finish early, please wait till Wednesday to post it. We want others to have a chance to make their own coding scheme without any outside influence. This is very fun. So what you're going to do is you're going to open this Excel sheet, and let me first start by telling you what a coding scheme is. A coding scheme is when you're reading a transcript or a list of quotes and you have to make sense of it. So let's say I have a list of various quotes from people, and I'm reading over it, and I keep seeing a lot of them talk about a zoo. I don't know why, I just see a lot of people keep mentioning the zoo. Well, I'm going to build a scheme when I code this and say, you know what, I'm going to put a Z next to all of them that I see zoo. And then I keep reading, and I notice a lot of them mention ice cream. Okay, there's a theme of zoo and a theme of ice cream. So I'm building coding. I'm building a scheme to code this. Z equals zoo, I equals ice cream, and every time I'm reading I put a Z next to wherever I see zoo, or I put an I next to the sentence that talks about ice cream. It's a lot to talk about right now. And then at the very end, my summary table will say, out of the 20 quotes that I read, 18 mentioned the zoo. Out of ice cream, 17 mentioned ice cream. And then I'm going to go further with that. So let's take an example. I'm opening the spreadsheet that you're supposed to have, the open-ended coding exercise. And just as I suspected, you have 41 different sentences. And I'm just going to do the first 5 lines. These are lines 4 through 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Let's look at them. It says, my husband has been laid off for 6 months, so that's my biggest worry. It stresses him out and my kids too. Sounds like there's a loss of job and stress. We have a foundation issue. It's a brand new house, but it's not settling properly. The builder has been out here a bunch of times and keeps telling us it will be corrected, but it hasn't yet. Sounds like homes and anxiety, stress. 6. I would have to say bills. 7. Our car is on the fritz. We're going to need to replace that, and I don't know where the money will come from. Sounds like a stressful situation again. We had a rough year last year, but I think things have cleared up. Now I'm looking forward to a better year. So right now, nothing. That sounds like a question that said, so what is currently stressing you out? So lines 4 through 8, I found that there may have been stress. And if I was making a coding scheme, I would have printed this out, got a highlighter, and I would have circled the word within the sentence that built that. And I would say, line 4, there's stress. They all have stress. And S would equal stress. And when you do this in your discussion, your coding scheme is going to be something along the lines of, the following was used when reading these lines to build. The coding scheme was built with the following: S equals stress, H equals house, C equaled car, and then you can further say, here's the codes that I gave my sentences. Or what about concerns? They all have a concern, so C for concern. And then you can say the qualitative data was analyzed using the following codes. Out of these codes, it was apparent that for all 40 had the code of S, which is stress. I'm making this up right now. It was apparent that 20 out of the 40 mentioned a house, H for house. Now you're showing me how you built a coding scheme. When you read through, you knew to put H for house, S for stress, and you're building themes. And then when you're done, you could say the major theme out of everything, you could have one or more. The major theme was stress and money. 2 themes emerged, stress and money. S signified stress, and M signified a mention of money. Whenever someone said the word money or referred to finances, it was coded as money. So the word coin, dollar, income, no balance, over withdrawn, words that circulate the world of money would be given the label M. He's in between jobs right now, and that's really hard. Put an M because that means there's no income. You got to be creative in the way that you code your qualitative research. But for this 9-1 discussion, you're going to show me what codes you used, and then you're going to tell me the themes, like what I just mentioned. What was the dominant theme or themes that came out? Perhaps there's only 2. Maybe it's just stress and money. Maybe it's stress and homes. I don't know. It's up to you to find that out and tell me. That's 9-1 discussion. And please wait till Wednesday to put your post. We need everybody to think of these things on their own creatively and make their own coding scheme. So you're going to look at the results posted by your peers. How did the approaches that you had differ from theirs? How did they overlap? How are they different? How are they similar? Which ones look most effective? That type of discussion. Let's turn our attention to 9-2 discussion. Using the module readings as a guide, think of a way that your research question, the one that you have for your own study, could be answered using qualitative research. Fun. Take the research you're currently doing and look at it from a qualitative researcher's point of view. So let me say this. I know one of you are doing research with tattoos, and you gave a survey out. How could you do the same study but using qualitative research? Okay. Let me make an example up for Mr. Diaz's world. Once again, Dr. Diaz is on campus. He's curious about those who take courses online and those who take them live in the classroom. I already did a survey. I found out so many people take online, so many people take live, but I still don't know what they feel about it. Well, I could go out and conduct interviews and ask them, tell me about what you feel when it comes to taking online courses. The students would sit down and say, these are the things I like, this is what I don't like. They will share their experiences, and that's where I can turn a quantitative study into a qualitative, and I could probably label it the shared stories of online students, something like that. And I could tell you the themes that came out and the sub-themes. Maybe they love when their teacher goes forward to make videos to show them how to do things. Who knows? Maybe they don't like it at all. Maybe they'll say that he's too bothersome. But that's the fun of qualitative research, to find out exactly how people are feeling. Okay, so 9-2. I had said think of a way to turn your research into a qualitative research. What type of qualitative research could you use? How will it be conducted? What would be the strengths and the weaknesses compared to quantitative? So what are the advantages and disadvantages when it comes to qualitative versus quantitative? When you go and respond to your classmates, give them your perspective on qualitative research and talk to them about research designs that could have been used to answer the research question. Okay, so this covers 9-1 and 9-2 discussion, and we spent a lot of time talking about qualitative data. I hope you find this fun. It's exciting because it's a new turn in our course. You get to move away from quantitative. You get to look at a new type of research, qualitative. It's very fun and exciting. I enjoy it. A lot of people, we need to utilize this more in research because it provides amazing results. The type of work that has qualitative data is observations, interviews, focus groups. Sometimes people are in a focus group to view a movie, and they give the review, and they say, okay, watch this movie, and producers say, well, it tested really well in the focus groups. Well, what were some of the things they liked and didn't like? And then they share their stories and say, I really don't like these things and how you show this or that. Or I really love the part when this or that. That's a silly example of a movie, but these go as far into the serious world of drug studies. What were the side effects? How did your body feel? Did you feel numbing or tingling? What parts of the body hurt? Which ones don't they? This can even go further with social work and community service of talking about rape victims and survivors, grief therapy and counseling. If you are part of a group therapy where you sit and you share your stories, you could be a part of that as well, and how you feel, and it could help others when they experience what you've gone through, qualitative research is there to help make sense of the themes that arise, because in the future, if I ran a group therapy of for widows who lost their spouse in the line of duty, and I ran this group, and all the spouses, the survivors who shared their grief, kept having reoccurring themes, it would help me to do a qualitative study with their permission to capture the most common themes that they speak of, so when future people come and join the group, I can better help them and say, the most common themes that come up in our group sessions are this, this, and this. So we're going to work towards that, and we're going to help you. So lots of great stuff comes out of qualitative research. All right, so this has covered Module 9. I hope you found this informative, and I hope you have a great day. Take care.